I'm Nick Cattles down in Virginia. My man Ty Anderson from 98.5 The Sports Hub joining me. The window over here, I guess it is. It's third period live on FanCred. We're Mike Felger on the fan line in a minute or two. But Ty, quickly, your thoughts on how this game's gone so far?
It's been pretty sloppy, I think. Watching the Bruins team, watching these guys play tonight, obviously they wanted to bring some of the intensity they had in Game 2 to Game 3, but I truthfully haven't seen that tonight. A lot of the heart and soul guys really haven't sort of shown that tonight. I think their first line especially, though, you're seeing them out there right now, they need to give them a little bit more. This line hasn't had the jump they need to really make an impact in this series. So I'm hoping they have something here to make this game close. They're interesting.
All right, just brought up his name, the man, the myth, the legend, Mike Felger on the fan line. Get his thoughts on this game through two periods and now about a minute into this third period. We'll get Felger up here in a minute. There he is. There's Michael Felger. All right, Felgy, give me your thoughts here. Quick hits on what you've seen so far.
Well, it's like a cliche, but it's like little puck battles. They were. I thought in all three of their goals that they allowed, they were in good shape. Krug should have had it on the first one, loses it. Bergeron on that power play could have had it, lost it. And then the third one, not quite as clear cut, but Carlo looked like he was in good shape down there in the corner. I can't tell who else was down there, but they were in decent shape there. And the next thing you know, the puck's in the back of the. So I think they're losing that little aggressiveness there that they had in Game 2, and they just haven't been able to duplicate it.
Yeah, I think the physicality that we saw from Game 2 hasn't been there tonight, and that's kind of opened up the ice a little bit for Toronto, and they're kind of skating circles around the Bees during stretches of this game with the surges that we would expect, this game being in Toronto. And I think, Felge, you make a great point. When you look at all three goals, there's a theme tonight. Krug fails to clear it. Bergeron fails to clear it. Carlo fails to clear it. You got three goals. Now you're down 3-2 with 18 and a half to go in the third period.
I mean, they were in good shape on all three. So if that's just going that way. Offensively, they're sustaining almost nothing. Milbury just said it on the NBC broadcast. They're not getting it in or working that cycle at all, which is where they should have an advantage working against that Toronto D, and they haven't gotten close to getting anything going on that. So,
Ty, I want your thoughts. Charlie Coyle has been great in this series so far. Unexpected or what, my man?
I think he's probably been their best player. They acquired him sort of putting stock in his playoff experience and saying that he can handle the big stage, and right now you're seeing that. I think he's been able to do that, and listen, I like the Backes Coyle combination. Heinen, he's been playing pretty well too. You can get a little bit more out of him, that'd be even better. But I think that's been good. But Andrew in the comments brings up a great point that if the Marner-Tavares combo continues to win their matchup, the Bruins are going to lose this series. And I think that's a good point because, listen, the depth guys are great, but this time you need your big guns to carry you. To the point I made earlier, you need this to sort of wake up here. So look, they're going to show a Marner package right now, but Coyle's been good. It's just above him. They need more.
So, but I guess I was watching the Nesson feed at the time. In the in-game interview, to Cassidy say they're not really worried about the matchups, meaning they're not trying to get Pastrnak away from Muzzin. Pasternak's getting the shit kicked out of him tonight. It feels like to me, and it doesn't feel like Cassidy's doing much to get those guys away from Muzzin or who's ever Toronto's using to targeting him. So should Cassidy be a little bit more mindful of that?
Yeah, he needs to play the matchup game a little bit here, I think. It's nice to say we trust everybody in our team, but at the end of the day, you want to give your team the best chance of winning. And right now, I don't know if you're getting it with some of these matchups you're doing out there. I think you're seeing the fourth line out there way too much tonight. They don't have the jump. So you need to go to somewhere else. You need to try to spread this out a little bit. This is the perfect game. If you were going to break up that first line, this is the night to do it because they haven't been very good at all.
Yeah, I think Marchand, too, he's looked a little hesitant. And I know in the first period they showed a replay of him not really running the guy and not being as aggressive as he usually would be, not as physical as he usually would be, kind of just a little bit of a nudge up against the boards. And I think he's kind of lacked a little physicality tonight and a little bit of extra jump to his game. He's had some moments where it looks like he's had an opening or two here and there, and he hasn't taken advantage of it. And as you're saying, Ty, when you're in a playoff series, a series that we think is going to be tight between these two teams, especially when you're on the road, that Toronto's going to come out jumping and have that urgency. You need Marshy and you need those other guys to play as good as they can and play with that intensity and urgency that they just haven't shown consistently tonight.
No, exactly. And then you're talking about, this is a line that dominated last year. And I think they can get the matchup in this series. if you can get them out there when Zaitsev and Muslin are out there, you should have success. You had success that way in game 2. So I'm surprised not looking for that a little bit more here, when they can get it, and getting some offensive zone face-offs and seeing what they can do, because right now it's just – this feels a lot more like game 1 than it does game 2.
Yeah, the first 4.5 minutes, or 3.5 minutes, good math by me, 3.5 minutes haven't gone great for the Bruins so far. Toronto has the jump on them. Felge, I want to ask you this because I had heard it a little bit on Twitter about the Kadri play the other night with DeBrusk and how Bruins fans booed Kadri. And I made the mention tonight about how Toronto fans were booing Tuukka when he was all pretzeled up in the net. Just your thoughts on that play. And I know some people, including myself, look at that and, McAvoy kind of runs Tavares into Tuukka on that play. Just your thoughts about how that went down.
McAvoy drilled him right into Tuukka Rask. Tavares didn't do anything there. Tavares wasn't running the goalie. Tavares was trying to finish the play, and McAvoy drilled him. Good shot there from Costa.
There you go. There's a hit.
McAvoy created that. Credit for Rask for sticking in there. And I thought Rask has actually played pretty well. The first one, they all fucked that up. The first one's aggravating. That should not have been in the net. Krug got undressed. That was a bad angle shot. But I think other than that, Rask has been pretty strong.
Yeah, there's McAvoy almost losing the puck there in front of Rask and costing the Bruins another goal, which obviously they can't give up. So, Ty, I want to start with you. We just got the question. Want to ask, Felger how he feels about the Kadri suspension. I think, listen, at least 5 games for what he did on Saturday night. I'm not surprised it was too much more than that. It wasn't more than that because it is the postseason. But 5 games, you feel like it's too late? Do you feel like it was right? Let's see if the Bees get this one. Nope. Turned away by Anderson. Nice little stop there, but Bruins getting some zone time.
If the Leafs beat the Bruins in 3 straight games, and then Kadri comes back for the next series, it's a 3-game suspension, which feels a little light. But, I wasn't among those who said 10 games or anything like that. Seemed worse. It was, it was a bad hit. He deserved to be kicked out. He deserves to be suspended, but I know people lose their minds when I say this. He didn't hit him that hard. It wasn't. He didn't hurt him. It was.
I thought it was chicken shit. I mean, I thought it was chicken shit. I thought it was absolutely, to me, 5 games is okay. By the way, Bruins going on a power play here to delay a game on Toronto.
You got to do more of that.
Obvious.
That's how you're going to beat this team. Force them into bad decisions, and you're going to get in the power play or you're going to get goals. They're not doing enough of that. They do it here, power play.
Yeah, Zaitsev gets the delay of game, so the Bees, about 15 minutes left on the game clock, will be in the power play for a couple of minutes. And I thought in that first period, the Bees started to gain momentum in that second 10 minutes, and their power play was complete shit. And I thought that kind of took momentum away from them when they were starting to get going.
And Torrey Krug has not looked good tonight.
What's Pasternak's problem? That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
No one near him.
It's just –
and this has been a problem now. I mean, he has the great pass in game 2 to set up Marchand, but besides that, have you really noticed David Pastrnak like he did last year? I don't think so.
And to me, he's just too hot with the puck. Bury that. What is that?
Yeah, and he misses that play as well. Bury it or find DeBrusk on the right side of the net, and he doesn't get either. It's just can't have those moments during these games, and then that almost a giveaway by Bergie there too. See, like they have no rhythm right now.
No, this has been a pretty, offensively, it seems like they're getting their luck off garbage and rebounds, and this part of the game is lacking for some strange reason.
Good God.
I mean, right there, you got DeBrusk set up right in front of Anderson, and you missed you can't connect on the pass. The opportunities are there, but they're failing to execute. That's the issue.
So, I think Krejci's been one of their few guys who's been on. He should be on this power play for sure.
And he shouldn't go 1-on-3 there, though.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. Listen, they say Krug passed all the tests and he was fine and he could have come back in game 2, but I don't know. I mean, he doesn't look like the power play quarterback that he needs to be for this team to win.
I mean, you're a minute 40 into this thing and you've gotten nothing. I mean, nothing out of this power play.
And this happened with their first one too. Their first power play opportunity, I think they had 1 shot or they had no shots actually. So So here we are, another opportunity here. I don't think you're going to get another one. I mean, this is a gift wrapped a power play chance you can get. Delay a game with Nikita Zaitsev, one of their PK guys, and you're not doing anything with it. I mean, this will make a difference.
Ty, you
I mean, just who can you count on tonight?
Bergeron and Pastrnak out against Muzzin. You want that matchup?
I do, because they're slow. They're not fleet of foot, and I think if this line had the jump that they had in Game 2, which they don't, but if they did, I mean, that's a matchup you should win. I think Morgan Rielly has improved in terms of as a puck mover, getting it up ice, getting it out of trouble. I don't know if Zaitsev and Muzzin have that. I really don't.
That was a nice play. That was a nice play by Grzelcyk. Nice setup. Coyle couldn't finish, but that's a nice play by Grzelcyk to set him up. I mean, the best chance that the Bruins had in that power play with about 5 seconds left, just not good enough. I mean, 155 of just sloppiness and failing to execute on a power play in that spot is inexcusable. We talk about this team having a chance to win the fucking cup. You're not going to win a cup if you fail to execute in those big spots like that. Have to be better. Have to be better.
You do. And right now, this current trend, I mean, if they lose tonight and they bring it Game 4, this trend is not going to help you in a Game 7. You need to develop some sort of consistency right now. And I know it's still 3 games into the series, and, the series is never over after 3. But at some point, these inconsistencies, and you saw this late in the regular season, I think, too. This all has to work out. And they have to right the ship like they had it going during their point streak.
Pastrnak again with a giveaway.
So I got a question here from JC. What have you guys thought about Backes and what he's looked like since he was put back into the lineup Game 2?
Back to the mean, as expected. As expected. All right, boys, I'm going to clear up the fan line for you. I got to go do some TV.
Have fun.
Carry on. Bye.
I thought you quit that shit, Felger. I'll see you later, man. So there goes Felger. I know people wanted Felger and I to go back and forth in some kind of heated pissing match, but, we got 3 guys on here. We're trying to react to the game. Trust me, if I get on with Felger, that pissing match will happen. It's inevitable. So hopefully a little bit down the road. But, I mean, your thoughts here. Got a commercial break, Ty. Again, it feels like the physicality is missing from this team tonight. They've been on their heels for long stretches of this game. And I would have liked to see that kind of physical imposure will on Toronto game from the jump. And I thought that's what we would see. I mean, you've got to be ready. The first 10 minutes of this game, you have to be ready for Toronto's best. And the Bruins weren't. But to their credit, they kind of stemmed the tide. They fought back. They had a better second 10 minutes in that first period other than the power play that went to the shits. But, again, second period and early on in this third tie, just not enough from really anybody.
Yeah, no, it feels as if, they've weathered the storm, so to speak, right? Their goals, as we talked about, are all self-inflicted. But they haven't had that next gear to either match it, the energy, the physicality, or to match them on the scoreboard with the offensive execution. So they've done a good job here positioning themselves to be in this game. The problem is now they have to sort of bridge that gap and take the next step and tie this up or grab the lead, do something. But it can't happen if those things you're talking about are not there. You need to will yourself back into this game structurally, and you want to call it luck. They're in this game. It's about finding that gear you're talking about and tying this up because, listen, they can do this. This Leafs team, the structure, when you pressure them, they will give you chances. They will make mistakes. You just got to be there to topple them or pummel them home. Pucks or bodies. You got to do something beyond what they're doing right now, which is, I think, to your point, they're kind of coasting. They're gliding. They're waiting for the game to come to them.
And that's just so frustrating. He's Ty Anderson from 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Nick Cattles from ESPN Radio. Felger just joined us on the fan line for a few minutes before he had to do his good old TV job and put some makeup on. If you want to join us on the fan line, you can do that. It's pretty simple. Right at the top corner of your screen, you click on that. We can bring you up. Your face will pop up. You can talk back and forth with myself and Ty. A couple questions here coming in. Ty, how much of this do you put on Bruce Cassidy?
A little bit in the sense that he's not, he talks about he's not going to shy away from matchups. At a certain point, don't you almost have to? Don't you have to say this isn't working? Let's target what we think can work.
Yeah.
He's been good at that before.
Yep.
Again, switching up lines, things like that. He typically has a good. He typically has a good read on this team, and I'm just wondering right now if he's giving them a little too much rope and trying to let some of his best players work out of it. He mentioned doing that after game one, but at what point do you say, okay, this guy doesn't have it tonight, let's go with someone else?
And in fairness to Cassidy, honestly, this team really is dependent on that top line. And if your top line is getting outplayed the way it is, I mean, you can't change Pasternak. You can't change Marchand. You can't change Bergeron. I mean, Bergeron fails to clear the puck tonight. That's uncharacteristic mistake by him. Marchand, again, has not been playing with that chippiness, and he hasn't really been playing physical. He doesn't have the juice tonight, it looks like. And Pasta's been all over the place. Felger, I think rightfully so, criticized him. Let me ask you, Jeff wants to know, Ty, your thoughts on the Bruins skate this morning. Do you think it wore them out? Do you think it's mainly they're just spent from game two? What's going on here?
I agree with skating this morning, if only because you didn't skate at all yesterday. And I don't know if you want to go 2 full days without getting on the ice before the game or before the pregame warm-up.
Yeah.
These morning skates now, they're different than they used to be. Now, I mean, these guys go out there, they get a little sweat and they get off. They really don't have these sort of intensive morning skates like they used to, say, even 3 or 4 years ago. So, thought that was going.
That catch kind of went down. I don't know if it caught him or not.
Yeah,
I do think, by the way, I think Kuhlman has played pretty well tonight. He's a major reason why Krejci got that goal. The fight along the boards, the forecheck led to that goal. I think he's been good, but we're talking about role players. You know what I mean? Like, your role player is going to be okay. JC does bring up DeBrusk. DeBrusk he hasn't had many moments tonight. He hasn't played like the guy that we've seen lately. I don't know if he's dinged up. He got dinged up in the first game. He got the cross check in the second game. I don't know if it's an accumulation of things, Ty, going on. I don't know if, being on the road and the crowd going after him has affected him in any way. But we're mentioning all their guys that have played really, really well. And here we go, the moment. Nice play.
Is that McAvoy?
So, their top talent just not playing consistently tonight and not playing good enough.
No, exactly. And that's sort of the thing here. I mean, you can live with, I mentioned the fourth line not having the jump. You can live with that if your best players are carrying you. And right now that's not happening. Right. And with DeBrusk, I do wonder if he's 100%. He's a gamer. He wants to play. I understand that. But, seeing him after game two, he didn't look well. He really didn't.
That turnover, just to exemplify what you and I are talking about, that turnover between Marchand and Pasta, that's just it's careless, it's sloppy, it's miscommunication. It's a complete mess. Simple things like that should not be happening at this juncture of the season. I mean, you're in game 3 of the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. You have 2 of your best players practically running into each other at mid-ice. I mean, that's the kind of shit that you just can't see at this point.
No, exactly. And keep in mind, too, in the first period, or maybe in the second, it was the second period, I'm sorry, there was a power play opportunity, and Bergeron and I believe it was DeBrusk collide. Marchand and DeBrusk, I believe, collide. Marchand falls down, and there goes the chance right there. There goes possession. So, yeah, there's been a lot of just odd sort of crap happening tonight with this team, and, I don't think they have it. So it's going to take a greasy goal, but where does it come from? I think it's going to have to come from somebody, but 10 minutes left in the third period or 9 minutes left in the third period, you're shortening the bench here. You're trusting your top guns to sort of score the big goal and keep you going.
Yeah, and you had the power play chance, and the delay of game was a huge call. You get that power play, you don't make anything out of that. You feel like that could have been maybe the little shot of juice that they needed. Let's go to Andrew and Lowell joining us here. Third period live on FanCred. Ty Anderson, Nick Cattles with you. Andrew and Lowell popping up on the fan line. Once we get him up here, I'm sure he'll have this question. There he is. Andrew, what do you got for us, bud?
Tonight, it almost seems like this Bruins team played their cards a little too early. They emptied the gas tank a little too early, it seems like. Yeah, game 2 was great, going rough and tough. But I wonder if that's kind of affected them this game and kind of moving forward for the rest of the series. Because you can't play rough and tough, obviously, every night. But if you come out and it's win one, lose one, it just doesn't bode well for them, I think.
No, I would agree with that. I think, you need to
Ty,
sort
your
of save
thoughts?
those bullets for the deeper sort of games and the rounds. I mean, at the same time, you can't go down 0-2, right? So it's,
No, you can't. You can't. But
you look at the way they play here. I mean, if they brought this game to game 2, we're talking probably 0-2 right now. I mean, so
Absolutely, you're
tough.
talking
It's
0-2.
a tough balance, and it's one of these things, right, where this team is built to play this style of play.
yeah,
So long as their skill players show up. Right now, we're not seeing that, so you're seeing the overextension, if you will, of these physical players being asked to, hey, do that again, which is, as you said, not an easy task this time of year, this early into the playoff run especially.
yeah. That just doesn't bode well moving forward, I think. But if you could get something from that second or third line right now, because right now your first line's obviously doing pretty good, I think. But and like you said a few minutes ago, that fourth line you could go okay, whatever. But I think you're right. You need more production from kind of just everybody, and you're right back in this game. So.
No, 100%.
All right, Andrew. Thanks, man. Thanks for the time. Appreciate it. Andrew and Lowell on the fan line. Again, super easy to get involved on the fan line. Top right corner. Hit it. Become part of this show with myself and Ty. And, it's difficult. As you said, Ty, we're looking at a fourth line that doesn't have the zip tonight. We're looking at a top line that's not playing well. DeBrusk looks a little foggy out there, whatever the hell's going on with him. And now you start to question who's going to give it to you. Who's going to give it? Is it going to be Krejci? Is it going to be, I don't know, Heinen? Who can give you the play? I mean, because as bad as we're probably making this sound, it's a 1-goal game. You got 8:41 to go. I think it's the old adage, it's the old cliche, but it's true. That's why cliches exist, Ty. If you told me 1-goal game, 8:40 to go, playing well, I'd take it. I'd say, all right, give me a shot here. But someone needs to come up with a
See what
play.
they just did there. They just tried running one of their favorite set plays off a face-off, which they win it. McAvoy goes around the net, and they feed it to Marchand. McAvoy.
See that shitty giveaway by Chara opens up this opportunity. I mean, Chara. Listen, I know Toronto, and somebody brought it up a little bit earlier. Toronto's skating is making Chara look even worse and slower and older. But I mean, those are the kinds of plays. I mean, Big Z can't do it. I mean, you can't. That's not speed bothering him. That's none of that. That's just a sloppy, careless fucking giveaway. When it's a 1-goal game with 8 minutes to play.
Again, this is where they need McAvoy to sort of be, I think, the dominant force on that pairing. I think that when I was talking about Morgan Rielly with Felger, I think Rielly has taken that step up from being just, Ron Hainsey's partner to being the dominant presence on that pairing. And I think that's changed the complexion of that pairing and what they can really do, what they can handle. So looking at this, McAvoy, again, they win the faceoff, set play. He gets tripped up and it goes the other way. I mean, they need we're repeating ourselves, I know, but they need their best players.
That's a big stop by Tuukka. Big stop by Tuukka.
And look, you got Steven Camper on the ice right now. This is the problem when you're rolling 4D basically.
Coleman might have just got away with one.
That was a nice horse collar tackle.
But I mean, it's just not a consistent forecheck, not consistent when it comes to puck management. Their power play has been not good tonight. Tuukka's played well. Kuhlman has showed up in spots, I think. Krejci's played pretty well. But everybody else, see, that's a chance right there. You got Backes in front of the net. You're hoping for something, like you said, a little greasy, a little ugly goal. But there's not a lot of guys to sit here and look at and say, oh, we can depend on this guy tonight on the road. And so, is it going to be Heinen? Here comes Heinen with Coyle, and there's a pass. See, just a little bit off on that. And, it's inches. But they're showing a little bit of a rush here. You feel, I mean, I don't know if I'm crazy or not, but I feel if they could put a little pressure on Toronto for a solid 45 seconds, minute straight of zone time, something like that, just put their backs up against the wall just a little bit to see how they react, because Toronto's been pretty comfortable tonight. They're not getting hit a lot. The hits that have happened, not as bad or not as physical or violent as they were on Saturday night. They're completely comfortable in this situation right now. The Bruins have to do something that take them out of their comfort zone. They need a sustained, pressure here against Toronto to make them feel it a little bit.
I think because that's when this team sort of, you look at game 2, they came in waves. In game one, they would come with one shift, and then it would kind of dissipate. So they need something. They need to sort of build on what they just had right there, and that's why you're seeing the Bergeron Marchand.
Here it is a little bit. Yeah, see it. Bergeron keeps it. Nice play along the boards. Chara gets a shot off. Here's a little zone time. Marchand stapled. Pasta.
But this is what they need. They need something like this, and here comes the key right now: is not completely collapsing at the other end. Get it and get it right back out. Keep pressure on. Make them play their top pairing for the final 5 minutes of this game.
I mean, right now, Ty, if you're Bruce Cassidy, what are you thinking? What are you doing at this point? But they're getting to the crease. They're getting in front of Anderson. They're fighting for pucks. Like you said, if they can handle defensive end and they can get back down in the zone and keep forcing, you might have a shot because it feels like they're penetrating a little bit here and they're getting to the crease. They're getting to the areas.
Yeah, and that's right there. That would be icing. Smart play by Torrey Krug. He sees he's got the skater there who has the legs. They race it. They keep this play moving. They're not letting Toronto get their personnel out there easily. They're making them do it on the fly.
Grizzlick. Nice play by Grizzlick.
This is where you might see, you're going to see a heavy rotation here. You're going to see Krug and McAvoy be a pairing here down the end of the game.
I mean, they're putting the heat on them now. I think that the last 2 minutes has been the best hockey from the Bees for a while. I mean, you might have to go back to the second period at the beginning to see better hockey there for the 2-minute stretch we just had. And like you said, you're going to see constant shuffling now at this point. And it's just, it usually comes down to, and again, I always say this. By the way, Joe P says that Anderson has played better than anyone expected. He's been good. It's one of those things where we expected a tight series. We expected games like this. It's just a situation where is somebody going to make the play? Is somebody going to, it could be a hit. It could be a dirty goal in front of Anderson. It can be anything that sparks you. And you feel like you've had that a little bit here. Pasta with a nice play, Grizzlick with the entry and the shot. So those are the kinds of things you're looking for. Tim asks, when does Tuukka get pulled if the score stays 3-2? Listen, when it's a 1-goal game, I don't tend to want to pull the goalie until you're at about 2 minutes, maybe $1.45. I think anything, more than that is too aggressive at this point. Unless you're on
the power play and you want to go for a 6-on-4 look, it's hard to do it before then.
Right.
Some teams, they get real wild with it. They do it 3 minutes, 2.5. I think you want to make sure you have your exact personnel out there. You want to do it off an offensive zone face-off, I think, as well, just to make sure you have backup, the exact right combination out there. I think the 2-minute mark is probably the way to do it. This is where, I know this sounds crazy, this is where the Bruins miss Sean Kuraly. This is a guy who would score some big goals and had a flair for the dramatic. And I don't know if that fourth line is going to get any ice time here. I don't know if they should, the final 5 minutes where they played tonight. But this is where you're going to have to tax some of your better players and hope that they can, again, snap out of this and deliver and push this game to overtime. Because we know, listen, that building in Toronto is going to get real antsy. If this game gets tied up or if this game goes to overtime, they're not going to have a fun time over there. So they need to focus on that.
No. Yeah, and he's Ty Anderson. I'm Nick Cattles. This is Third Period Live on FanCred. Thanks for joining us tonight. Of course, Ty 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm with ESPN Radio down in Virginia Beach and ESPN nationally on Sunday mornings. And, this is the kind of game, Ty, if the Bruins can find some kind of way to tie this up. And, I mean, if they could find a way to somehow win this game, I mean, this is the type of game that can shake Toronto. This is the type of game where you feel like you had it in hand. The Bruins played sloppy. They didn't have a lot going for them at all. If Toronto loses this game at home, I mean, that's just – I hate like gigantic momentum swings in those takes when you talk about a series that I think is going to be tight. But that could be a significant momentum swing if they can somehow find a way, survive, and
especially
win this game.
Especially with Nazem Kadri out for the rest of the series. I mean, this is why the Bruins really need to do what they can to to create some doubt. Because if something were to happen, if let's say they can pull it off here and tie it up at the very least, now you're created that doubt in Toronto, saying, "Oh my God, we don't have our shutdown center. What are we going to do?" So I think this is a big test for them, and we're going to have to see. I mean, I think the series was always going 6 or 7, so you can't panic. You can't panic or get too high or too low, no matter the end result. But you know, I just want to see what we've seen these last few minutes here, all the way to the end. Another turnover.
You know, and really, the last 3 possessions. I mean, Krug, McAvoy. That's a nice stop by Tuukka. Tuukka's been good. Nobody should give that guy shit tonight. He's been good. But when you, of course they will. But when you, the last 3 puck possessions by the Bruins, it's like you can't get out of your own way. It's the type of shit. You know, Krug tries for a home run off the boards. It's not the play that's there. He tries to fit it. Turnover. You know, McAvoy tries a home run pass down ice. Can't fit it in. Turnover. You know, then Pasternak with the turnover. Those possessions in a game like this, Corey says he wants Coyle on the ice, change the matchups. Nick says that Pasta has not played well at all, spent more time on the ground than on his feet. Yeah, I think out of all the players tonight that have really struggled consistently, Pasternak has to be at the top of that list. Marchand hasn't been great. Bergeron's been very quiet. I mean, tell me what play Bergeron's made tonight. But Pasternak has just been all over the place. Nice play here. Come on, Krejci, finish it. Damn it. That's the one. That's the one.
Yep, that's
the one you need to finish.
Yep, and you know, this is part of what plagued them in game 1, where they're being too cute and trying to find the perfect angle. I mean, listen, Anderson's played well, but he's not a goalie. He's not Braden Holtby out there. You don't have to get the perfect angle. If you throw it on, there's a good chance you're going to get something out of it.
That was huge. That was a golden opportunity right there. I mean, they had one of those. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ty. I think it was first period when I think was it Pasta that was sitting right there and could have snuck it, and he went right off the stick of Anderson. Here you go, Krug, walk that in.
And again, guys are falling. They're just like, I don't know.
Oh. That's pipe right there. That was fortune. All right, so Bruins get possession here. This is when you pull Tuukka. You get possession here. You got to make this play up against the boards against Matthews. If you get this puck here, you got to get Tuukka out.
Here, and I think you're going to see it here. Maybe they got to get possession first. But
yeah, right here. This is where you set it up. Final minute 35. Get the rush. Pull Tuukka. There goes Tuukka. Well, Grzelcyk fucking around with the puck. Now makes it tougher for Tuukka to leave. I'd love a goal right now and then a close-up of Nazem Kadri sitting in his suite. There's Pasta again. Nice play by Bergeron, keeping it in. Here we go. See, not a big fan of that shot.
I'd like to get the movement going a little bit more there and sort of see what you can get as an option. If they're preparing for the shot there, you know, they're all stationary. That's when you try to move it around a little bit.
Yeah, Tuukka was beat there. Bruins got some good fortune from the pipe there. And Tim asked you, Ty, has Kadri's absence even been noticeable
it
tonight?
really hasn't been as much as it should have been, because I'll tell you what, Nylander playing center, he can do it, but they don't love it per se. So I think, as expected, you've seen a heavy dose of Matthews and Tavares tonight at center, and I'm curious what their final ice time is going to be, but it seems you've seen a lot of them tonight. So maybe they're trying to minimize his workload, minimize his impact on this game. But no, the Bruins have not taken advantage of that like they should. And maybe they can't until Game 5 in Boston, given these matchups, given that the Leafs have last change. But I thought it'd be noticeable. I did. I thought it'd be a little bit more noticeable than it's been tonight, no doubt.
And maybe it's just, maybe it's Toronto, maybe it's Boston. I think you watch this game, and it's rather obvious the Bruins have not played their best at all. And now you look at the first 3 games of this series. Game 1 was a disaster. They gave away about a million breakaways and odd man rushes. That was a disaster. They came back, different team, more physical. And now you kind of go back to, this game 3 feeling like, not like game 1 because there wasn't as many giveaways, but a very frustrating performance.
And again, they're falling. I mean,
yeah, Krejci falls ass over tea kettle for no
reason.
reason.
This has been their night. It's maddening. This is absolutely maddening to watch. I mean, this is a mix between games 1 and games 2 where you do a little bit of things right. You do. But it's not enough to push you to that next level or match what the Leafs are doing. And, this is where you need that focus. You need that sort of – your experience here should benefit you. You have more experience in this team. Like, you shouldn't be making these mistakes that they're making right now.
Yeah, and BD says Toronto just so much faster. Well, I mean, this is, aside from Kadri being out, you're looking at the same team from Saturday night. And the Bruins were more than ready to handle the speed, more than ready to handle this Maple Leafs team. And we're not talking about having somewhat of a close, mirror of what we had on Saturday night. This is a completely different performance from the same 2 teams. And so you've got to ask the question, what's gone wrong here? DeBrusk, you might be able to explain it due to some kind of injury. And as we always know, Ty, a lot of times these guys are really banged up. We'll never know until the season is over. But, I mean, you look at Krug. I think you brought this up at the beginning of the period. He doesn't look right. DeBrusk doesn't look right. But you've still got to play better than this.
I mean, this is sort of – I mean, again, another stop.
There's Pasta again. Pasta unable to settle the puck. Bouncing puck. What the fuck?
Yep. That felt like that was their final chance.
So many. I mean, Tim wants to know what's up with all the face-off losses. Joe says the power play has been a letdown. There's no doubt the power play has been a gigantic letdown. Yeah. They started playing great in the first period. After the first 10 minutes, they started getting momentum. And then they get on the power play, and you feel like, okay, this is when they're going to make Toronto pay. They're going to make them feel it. And it was a terrible, discombobulated power play. Same thing happened earlier in this period off the delay of game. Just, you get the man advantage. You got to get shots on goal. No matter how you do it, get the shots on net. And to not do that, 2 power plays tonight, it's really inexcusable.
Absolutely. And you're talking about a power play that was one of the most effective in the NHL this past year and last year for that matter. So what is it? What is going wrong with the system here? What are they looking for that they're not getting? I do wonder. I mean, I'm not sure what it is that they want out of this power play that's causing them to defer so much. I don't see it.
All right, here we go. So you got a Maple Leaf without a stick. This is pretty much a 6-on-4 at this point. 5 seconds left.
Yeah.
And then 2 blocks.
Yep.
Pasta fails. Listen, just not good enough. They didn't deserve to win this game. As I mentioned a few minutes ago, Ty, if they won this game, it would have been a killer for Toronto. Toronto outplayed them on the balance tonight. Pasternak was a fucking disaster. He has to be so much better. That top line has to be better. And I don't know. What do you do? Is there anything you do here before Game 4 on Wednesday night? Where do you go from here?
You have to look at these top 2 lines here and see if something can be done. If you can change it up a little bit, because Pasternak, to your point, he's not playing well. What can get him going? Is it David Krejci? Is it the better matchup that you get by doing that? I'm not sure, because at this point he doesn't look right. He looks like the 2017 David Krejci. David Pasternak that was overmatched by the Senators. He doesn't look like last year's where he was on point and dominating. So I move him down. Maybe I move him down to Krejci's line and I bump someone else up to the top line and see what I can do here, because your third line has been fine. Your top 2, a lot to be desired through 3 games right now.
And Jeff's got an idea, Ty. Need DeBrusque on the phone with Toucher and Rich Wednesday morning to get some of the juices back, man. They need it. Wayno says bad loss. Jay Stu says sucks. A tough night. Bruins lose 3-2 in Toronto. Toronto takes the 2-1 lead. Game 4 is Wednesday night. Before we say goodbye, a simple question here for you, Ty. I feel like Game 4 is a must win.
Absolutely must win. It's just so hard to come back from 3-1. And this Bruins team, I don't think they've done it I don't even know how. It's been a very long time, I should say, since they've done it. I can't remember anything off the top of my head of them doing this. So it would take a lot. I don't like their chances, especially if you have to go to a must-win game in this building. So, yes, Game 4 is now a must-win for this team, in my opinion. Absolutely.
All right, we see if they'll move Coyle up a little bit. We'll see if they do something with Pasternak. I don't know. I'm not expecting too many drastic changes with this team. He's Ty Anderson, 98.5, the Sports Hub. I'm Nick Cattles, ESPN Radio down in Virginia Beach, also ESPN Radio nationally on Sunday mornings. Thanks for checking out Third Period Live here on FanCred. Thanks to Michael Felger, who joined us the first few minutes on the phone line because he's a knucklehead on TV, forgetting his responsibilities. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this shitty game tonight. Hopefully they turn things around on Wednesday night. Big night. You've got obviously the Bruins and you've got the Celtics on Wednesday night. Everybody be safe, and we'll talk to you soon.
Anytime.
Thanks for doing this,
too.
Ty. Good to see you, man.